Well, g'day, it's Jonathan and Dan here in Lake Macquarie, and we just finished up on an excellent session targeting a range of different species. I think we ticked off 6, or we were lucky enough to catch 6.
7, mate.
7, was it? Oh, well, there you go. And one of them, of course, was a great mulloway, which you may have seen already on one of our videos. But I thought we'll do a quick run through on some absolute essentials you've got to have on your boat if you're ever going to do a session on the water, where it be with lures or baits. And of course, these are all in regard to fish handling. So the first, Dan, actually, we'll go with the net first. We've been using these nets. Well, I know you've got one on your boat, I got one on my boat, and it's a little bit different to the ones that we used to have maybe 10 years ago, because they were all mesh, weren't they? No, they were tighter fibres and smaller holes.
Yeah, the first nets they brought out to be more environmentally friendly on the fish, they were good, they were nice and gentle on the fish, but unfortunately your trebles got stuck in them.
Yeah.
And they were really hard to scoop through the water because they drew so much water. So these nets are great. They got the bigger holes, soft rubber, so that if you do get your hook stuck in, it's really easy to get them out.
Yep.
And again, that soft rubber is really gentle on the fish, doesn't harm them at all.
And the same way it helps the trebles of your lures, it also means that the gills and the fins that stick out on the fish that we catch don't get hung up in those small little holes, which can actually tear them or rip them. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. And the gills, especially when you're scooping that fish out of the water, if it's all hung up, it's just not good news. So that's the first one we have, rubber nets with big holes. The second one is these things, which just looks like gardening gloves. And I mean, you could use a gardening glove if you wanted. Go steal one from Dad's shed or something like that. But they're fish handling gloves. You can get them at BCF. And the idea behind there, Dan, is to basically
protect you, protect the fish.
That's it. As simple as that. So you chuck it on. Always wet it beforehand if you can, and put your hand in the fish's mouth.
Yep.
And stops you from getting injured on your thumb.
Helps you control the fish.
Control. It's all about control. If you don't have control of that fish, then it can kick out, hit the deck, hit its head. It's all about just getting a really firm grip, and the gloves are really good for that. A few other final ones. A rag. I've always got a rag on the boat. I know Dan's got a few laying around. This is his boat. We always wet it. It's just good not only to wipe your hands at the end of the day, but if you're handling a fish, you don't want to take like the protective slime and scales off the fish.
Yep.
Sometimes if you're using things like lip grips, which we hate, we don't like them, it not only pierces the mouth of the fish, but it also means you can hang it by the jaw. If you've just got a rag on board with you, it's heaps easier to hold the fish, and you can support its belly. And it's also good for those fish like flathead that have spikes and that. And the last one, doesn't matter how old they are.
Yep, long pliers. That helps you get right down when they've swallowed those lures up deep. Skinny, pointy nose pliers like this, you can get in and do a bit of dentistry on those fish when they've taken the lures too deep.
And you're pretty good at it.
Yeah,
I've seen you do some quality work on a fish with trebles.
Yeah.
And of course, brag mat, wet that anytime you use it. We've got a DPI one here, but they sell them at a range of tackle stores. So you have them on your boat, and you're halfway there to doing the right practices when it comes to fish handling, and that is so important because we want to be catching these fish in the future. And I know Dan has caught a fish 3 times. He caught a fish, tagged it, and then re-caught it 3 different times, and then another bloke caught it, didn't he? Yeah. And that was in this exact waterway. So it just goes to show how resilient these fish can be if you put a few steps in place, or put in a bit of effort before you'll release that fish, because there's every chance that you'll catch it later. So that's sign off from me and Dan. We'll see you on the water.